back to the podcast. This is, oh God, I every time I don't,
It's about 27.
27, 28. Every episode, I'm like, I think it's this one, and I'm either correct or I'm way off, but I never check beforehand. So for those who are listening and not watching, and you haven't figured it out yet, for those who are watching, we are here in person. I can touch him. Yeah. And that's also why if you are listening, it sounds weird or echoey or different. And that's because I am recording this on two devices. I'm recording it on a cell phone, his cell phone to do the video. And then I'm doing a voice memo on my phone that should be picking up both of us. And it is. I don't know if you can hear when I do that. That's me rubbing my fingers on the table. I hope that wasn't too loud. If it was ASMR for some of you, you're welcome.
Okay.
Regardless, welcome back to the podcast. Let me scooch over a little bit.
So, Peter, let me ask you a question before we get into the podcast.
Okay.
What's new in your life?
What's new in my life? Well, I've been visiting you for the past couple of weeks, and it's been a wonderful time. Excuse me. It's been a wonderful time, and I appreciate you always allowing us to come here.
Yeah.
Outside of that, and doing like what we've been doing here, going out to eat, hanging out at the beach, doing things, it's not a ton new. I think was it the last? I think it was the last episode that I said I finished my acting school. So I was doing an acting school. I think I've spoken about it in at least one of the podcasts. Mm-hmm. And I finished the program, the 1-year program. What was it? The end of May? What is this, July?
Yeah, July.
So I did it at the end of June, right? Well, I don't remember. I did it at the end of one of the months.
Actually, I think it was June 24th.
That's what it was, yes. It was the end of June. And I'm now a free man who has to start now applying for jobs because I'm no longer in school.
Yeah. And so what are you looking forward to applying for? What kind of jobs?
First and foremost, remote, because I would like to not have to commute into the city to get the same rate of pay that I can get while working remotely. Okay. And it would just allow for me to have a more open and free day because the 3+ hours minimum travel time that I would have in my day would not only allow me to be more productive for the position, but also just be more productive in my day. Because that's a minimum 3 hours, let alone like an hour and a half to the city, hour and a half back. That's if I don't have to subway anywhere. Okay. So
that's in New York.
What?
You mean subway? You mean from
subway in New York, like an hour and a half to New York. Yeah. And then if I had to subway, let's say uptown, again, that could be another 20, 30 minutes. And then all the way back down, another 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it could be up to 4 hours or more. Yeah. Or if I have to go to Brooklyn or something. Too much.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be some auditions when you get back, correct?
That's true as well. I am applying for auditions as well.
Peter is an actor.
I am.
Yes, and a good one too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, all right. What about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good because you guys are here. It's always nice to have visitors. It's the best of times. It's the best of times and confusing of times because I get off my schedule, eating and sleeping and everything. But it's nice, It would have been nice if the weather was better. It's been extremely hot in Florida for those who are watching. Heat index yesterday was 106. So you have to find things to do to keep yourself cool. I mean, today was the first day I played 18 holes of golf. Played rather well, matter of fact, considering the heat. But, things are okay. Things could always be worse. Things could always be better. Right?
That's very true.
Yeah. So where do you want to head from here?
Okay. Well, we have a few things. Also, for anyone who's watching and sees me looking down, we have a phone right here and he's got paper. So we have our notes set up. I guess we can start with what you wanted to discuss, which was about Bedminster and the golf course. And then from there you can talk about the PGA.
Yeah. Okay, I play golf later in my life, and that's because I've been an athlete all my years, and I needed something to occupy my time. In fact, I have three friends I play with. Two are 78, one is 79, one is 88, and I'm 78, just turned 78. We call ourselves the Final Four, and we went out today, only three of us, and it was cooler than usual, but hot, very, very hot. And, you know, I have an interest in golf, which I never thought I would because I was always into other sports. But golf twice a week takes up my time. And I've been reading about the PGA Tour, which I've watched all my life sparingly because I used to find it, boring to watch golf on TV. And I'd watch, how the first prize would be $1.5 million, $1.6 million. And, you'd have 60 golfers compete, and they'd cut the field down to 30, down to 10, and they would play 4 rounds of 18 starting on Thursday through Sunday. And it's a very difficult process. Kids come out of golf schools, and kids come out of colleges, and they have to qualify, get their PGA card, their professional card. And it's hard. It's very, very difficult to get a PGA card, and it's very difficult to earn money because there are so many good golfers. Now, recently, something occurred that's very controversial. The Saudi government is backing a new golf league called the LIV. And the LIV is Roman numerals for 54. And 54 stands for 54-hole tournament.
Okay.
Instead of playing 4 18-hole tournaments, 4 18-hole days, they're playing 3 18-hole.
Oh, okay.
And supposedly, there's somewhere between $225 million and $250 million that is being backed by the Saudi government, in part or in full. I don't know. Nobody knows the whole thing. And some of the players from the PGA Tour are joining this league in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
And by doing so, the PGA is not permitting them to play in PGA tournaments, and a lot of sponsors are dropping them. But these players, some are good, some are still very good, and some are, players pushing their late 30s and 40s who will have trouble making the cut in the PGA tournaments.
Okay.
But they're more or less guaranteed money to go play in the LIV tournament sponsored by Saudi Arabia. And I'm talking about big money. Some have signed contracts like for $100 million for multiple years.
So similar to what would be like a basketball player.
Yeah.
Or a baseball player or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
So when we talk about it, there's opinions like, well, you know what? It's a business deal. If I go play there and I get guaranteed money to play, and the prize money is so high, I can stabilize my income and give my family a secure future.
Right, but my question is two things. One, why is the PGA against them playing this? Does it go against anything contractually?
They're rating PGA players. They're taking the PGA players.
No, but why can't they play it both?
Can't.
Why?
There might be the tournaments
Contractually against it? Like, is it like, the Saudis are saying sign with us, and then you are not allowed to go to PGA?
Tournaments occurring at the same time.
Got it. Okay.
And it's very controversial. Let me read this to you. Because of the links of the Saudi government, the LIV Golf has faced accusations of sports washing. The chairman is Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the son of Saudi Arabia's king. Bin Salman runs his dad's government and has been accused of ordering the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, a journalist who was critical of the Saudi government. So, there's people who are talking politically that we should not be going there to play, and there are people who are saying, well, you know what? I'm getting to be an older golfer. I want to stabilize my income. But they did take some good golfers, like Don Johnson and a few others. But they're getting paid a lot of money to go over there.
Right.
And they're signing I don't know what the contracts are. It could be 3 years, $100 million or whatever. And Mickelson rather, could be getting anywhere from $100 to $300 million to have his name there. I don't know if that amount is correct, but it's a hell of a lot of money. But now, I read yesterday that, where do you live?
Bedminster.
And what's near you?
Trump Golf Course.
Yeah. The Trump Golf Course, Bedminster, it, could be a rumor, but Trump owned courses in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
he owns courses in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and he owns the course in Bedminster. And as you know, when there's a tournament in Bedminster, traffic is heavy. And the PGA has disallowed Trump in many of the areas because of his, let's just say, his ability not to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And now there was a rumor online that he was negotiating with Saudi Arabia, and here's a man who says he's running for president again, to possibly have a Saudi Arabian LIV tournament in Bedminster, possibly even this week. So I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't put anything past him. So again, let's just say this. Do we do things for love of the game or for money? Do we remember 9/11, what occurred there? And we still blame the Saudis for it, even though people say it was different Saudis. But do we blame the government for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi? So that's one of the things that bother me, because now I'm a golf fan to my older age. I hate to see the PGA getting raided, and now I'm noticing top sportscasters who are meeting with the LIV golf organizations, Barkley, and a few of the golf people who do commentaries that are great. I mean, Charles Barkley could be offered a lot of money because he's great, whatever he does. Or Faherty, who is the leading probably golf person on television. And what they're trying to do is create a new league that will compete with the PGA. And the PGA, a lot of the PGA players are getting vocal, and a lot of the players that are going to LIV are getting very annoyed because sponsors have dropped them.
Yeah.
And
Well, and so I think there's a very difficult predicament going on, because the Saudis mixed with Trump, mixed with golf, mixed with the U.S. doesn't sit right. I don't necessarily know enough about any of it to say enough on it, but it doesn't sit right. So that alone is its own sort of biosphere of a problem, because consistently America has had issues, and I'm not going to lump the Saudis as a conglomerate of people, because It's not all of them.
correct.
But when we use that term, it is under the assumption of the specifics of those that are causing the problem. So I'm making that a clarification so that it is not misconstrued throughout the podcast. But that mixture with Trump, those specific types of Saudis, and then this sort of new organization that will sort of establish their fingers in the pie in American golf, doesn't sit right. I don't think I necessarily like it, and I don't think it's going to lead to anything other than more money in their pockets. On the flip side, the PGA, if the PGA is not paying the players and is so prestigious that it is nearly impossible to participate in, and it's one of the only ones of its kind, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if it is the king of all games, right? If it's the biggest and highest form of golf.
It's not. There are many tours. There's the PGA Tour. There's other tours where pro players play on.
Yeah, but isn't the PGA the most widely known and the most commonly?
But there are other tours that pro golfers play on, and then they get good, and they qualify for the PGA Tour.
So okay, but that's my point though. Is yes, there's other pro leagues. It's the same way with basketball. You can go international, but no one's going to know your name until you hit the NBA. So there's other leagues you can play in. So when you have an organization that's that big and that prestigious and that old, someone wants to come in and change the rules, because when you have that sort of establishment like the PGA, they can set the prices, they can set the prize money, they can set everything.
Right.
And so there's two sides here. I don't necessarily like what's going on with the Trump golf course and the Saudis, and I'm not a fan of the fact that if there is a game that's going to happen in Bedminster, that means I'm not going to be able to go literally outside of my house for the next week while that's happening. Because it's just going to be flooded with people and protesters and everything. But on the PGA side, if even though, let me pause. If the PGA is considered one of or the most prestigious for golfers, but it is not offering prize monies that are accurate or good enough to today's standards. If the money that they're winning is the same money that they were winning 20 years ago.
No, they're offering a lot of money.
Okay. So
that's not the point. That they're offering a lot of money.
The argument I'm simply getting at is the fact that the Saudis were able to come in and offer better deals means that there was no loyalty to the PGA Tour, and means that these people were playing for selfish reasons, whether it's to get their cards, to get the money, whatever. But there's no loyalty towards that tour. And the fact that there's no loyalty means that that organization is not treating their players well. Because if they were treating their players well, those players would want to back it and say, no, I trust this place over someone new. Regardless of the deal. If my organization or my company or my place is treating me the way I deserve to be treated, why leave?
Yeah, the money is fair that they're paying the players. The problem and plus the sponsorships are fair. The problem is that a lot of the older players now. I mean, there are some, like I said, good players going to this LIV league, very good players, but most of them are reaching the point where they can't go the 55 and older senior tour because they're only 38, 40, and they want to earn money playing golf.
Right.
So they know that they have to go business-wise to earn money. So do you sell out and go there and say, look, I got to earn money, which you have to earn money, and forget about what might have happened with 9/11, with the murders and what goes on in the Middle East? Because Saudi Arabia is not is not the greatest country, even though we have.
I don't know enough about it to make those comments. So
but I've seen what Saudi Arabia does. They have invested hundreds of $millions in the sports racing business, racehorses. They have trainers and such buy horses, and they have barns of fabulous horses, and they breed them. I mean, they're very dominant. So they'll probably be successful, in this league, because how could they fail? There's loads of money, and they'll have to hook up though with a way to show it in the United States. They're going to have to get a a channel that'll show it to them, whether it's YouTube.
They don't even need a channel. Nowadays, they don't. You can just do a streaming service.
Yeah, it could
They
be.
can make their own streaming platform, or they can attach to a company or an organization that allows streaming.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, because you can even stream from a website. If you just have some tech guy build you a website, you can stream professionally from your website, and it can be free.
Yeah.
It could be free. It could be free for the first year, right? To get everyone into it. And then the next year, when they get bigger, they can then sell it to a streaming service or a TV channel once they've proven that they can get the numbers. And then from there,
Yeah. Well,
it's on a channel. So they don't even need a channel to begin with.
Well, they could buy an NBC or CBS.
Wow.
They got so much money.
Well, yeah, I
You know,
mean,
the Saudis. So I just want to
yeah.
make mention of that.
Oh, sidebar, real quick. Speaking, because we're talking about Saudis and Trump, I read this a couple days ago, and I find it just comically more just crap from him. His first wife, Ivana, died via staircase the day before he was supposed to go to court for finances and a lot of stuff that was a big deal when he was president. Her death is not comical, but I find the situation comical in that his first wife, surprise, surprise, somehow miraculously just dies via falling down a flight of stairs, one of the old ways of doing it, the day before he's supposed to go and do something. And now he can't go because he's got to attend her funeral. I just, and knowing how stupid he is, knowing how he has and would pull some stunts like that off, it is a full conspiracy. I have no proof, I have no facts, but I find it comically problematic that stuff like that is still happening. So that was a complete and utter sidebar because you brought up Trump before.
Okay. Something you want to bring up now to talk about?
Yeah. Let's discuss. I wanted to discuss this, which was while I've been here, saw two very specific films, Tenet and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't know which one to start with. Tenet, I guess we can start. So first off, let me say Tenet and Everything Everywhere All at Once are two films that when they came out, a lot of people talked about it. Tenet was more for like the film guys and the film girls. They were more the ones that were like, oh my God, Nolan. So, oh, Christopher Nolan, and they loved it and whatever else. I think they were both amazing films, and I like Everything Everywhere All at Once way more than Tenet. No, that's not true. I think I like them both for different reasons, but Tenet does have its issues. Everything Everywhere All at Once was just overall an amazing film.
Did I see that one?
You saw both of them. The Everything Everywhere All at Once was the Asian mom with the Asian daughter, and it was...
I fell asleep on that.
Okay.
He
fell asleep through that one, and then you also either fell asleep or didn't like Tenet as well.
I didn't like Tenet.
They're both very ethereal. I want to say that's the right term. No, temporal. It's temporal and cerebral. Those are the terms. Both of them involve conversations of time, conversations of life and lifespan, and it's very heady and deep conversations that are happening. Everything Everywhere All at Once is insane. It has like 8 levels to it. I remember when my sister was here, she was here for the first week of the vacation. She ended up going home, but we saw both of them together, and we spent like 2 hours after the movie just talking about all the components and things from Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm late to the train because everyone who saw it and all the people who saw it when it came out was saying this. So if you've already seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, please, God, see it. It's a very, very good film. And it's one of those films that you can watch 3 times over, and there's still such content to talk about.
On a scale of 10, what do you give it?
10.
Ask me what I give it.
0.
I wouldn't give anything a 0, but
A 2.
I like David Washington. I give it.
Tenet was good. So, all right, we'll push with Tenet first. Tenet is about it's a film about spies, or yeah, I guess you could say spy-ish people, and they find a way to reverse time, and it's this story that involves forward and backward time. Now, I'm going to spoil some stuff, so if you don't want to hear the spoils, I'm looking at the timestamps right now. If you don't want to hear the spoils, I will give it a 5-minute period so that if you want to come back after that, you can skip ahead. So I think So I'm going to say now, and then from that point on, don't listen and skip ahead 5 minutes. And now, so the film is about forward and backward time, and David Washington is the semi-main character. He's the main character, but Rob Pattinson is his partner in crime. And the film is really interesting because it talks about something similar to the concept of what the movie Arrival did with
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, not Leo DiCaprio. With Hawkeye, whatever his name is. Hawkeye and the lady from Enchanted. I'm having an awful memory with these actors and actresses' names. But the Hawkeye from Marvel and the woman who did Enchanted with what's his name? The one from Sonic. What's his name? The guy.
The one from Sonic?
Not Jim Carrey, the main character. The guy.
I just saw him. I forgot.
I'm struggling here. Anyways, those two characters are on Arrival. That movie's about the concept of using memories and your mind to travel in time, and that you're not actually ever going forward in time. It's simply shifting your consciousness in time. Tenet plays with that concept to a further degree, saying that it plays with the concept of what came first, the chicken or the egg, and that's sort of the theme of the whole film. And the big spoiler of the film is it's a 2.5-hour film. The first hour and 15 of the film is backwards, because that's the entirety of the film's concept. Is you go through this little turnstile and everything starts going in reverse. Everything, life, birds, air, and you are the only thing consciously going in that opposite direction. So the whole hour and 25 of the film is in reverse. And then we find the turntable, we go through it, and then the film starts going in normal forward time. And it allows you to fully comprehend everything that just happened in the first hour and 25. And it's a very, very slow burn film, but it is beautifully done. And it ends with a loop, right? Tenet is the name of the agent. It's not a person's name necessarily. It's sort of like 007. Anyone can be 007. It's just a person's sort of figure. I have a minute and a half based off my timestamp. So, okay, before people who don't want to hear the spoilers can come back. Really, really good film in that regard. The play with this time stuff, just from a actor's perspective, was amazing. But then looking at it through the CGI, the choreography, and all of that, stunning. Absolutely stunning. The film ends with this sort of wraparound where Tenet, the main guy, saves this woman that then leads him to end up going back in time, to somehow going in reverse time to recruit his partner, who somehow recruits him, that then leads him to be who he's meant to be, which then leads back to him recruiting, and so on and so forth. So it's this weird circular, again, chicken or the egg concept, but it is a beautiful film. Now, I have another 20 seconds before people come back, because I know they're going to count exactly 5 minutes. But I want to wait before I say the final thing I want to say about this film, and then I will swap to everything, everywhere, all at once. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, welcome back to those who skipped ahead. I said a bunch of spoilers. You don't want to listen to those. The thing I will say about the film that is not a spoiler that I wasn't a huge fan of was the audio. Something about, and we all had this issue. You, me, and my sister all had this. When they're talking, the audio is so low, and when there's action or when there's gunfire or anything else, it's so loud. And it caused an issue because when they're talking, they're at a level that I would argue is whisper volume. So when they're whispering, it's even lower. And then when there's gunfire and explosions, it was higher than it should have been. So the disparity between the gap between the volumes was impossible to manage. And to the point where my sister and I literally missed parts of the film's like storyline because we were lowering the volume for the explosions, and then immediately there was a conversation. We're like, wait, I didn't hear what happened. And we didn't want to keep rewinding. So that's the one issue that I have with Tenet, is that audio issue. Overall, though, I think the film was a really, really good film. And I think there's a lot of people that either got bored for that first segment of that film, understandably, but I think it's worth paying attention to.
Or maybe worth seeing a second time.
Yes, I agree. But it is 2.5 hours, and it's a slow burn. It's a very slow burn film. You need to watch the whole thing. You cannot judge it, because I was judging it for the first half. And then it switched halfway through, and I went, oh, wait, never mind. I'm very happy about this film. So the second half, the second half makes the first half completely worthwhile. Now, Everything Everywhere All at Once is just a creative masterpiece. I love it. Everything about it is fun, creative, and thought-provoking. And I don't think I'm going to put any spoilers into that film. I don't want to discuss any spoilers for that one because I don't want to get into that one because that one's even more extreme. But that film overall didn't have any technical errors in my perspective. No audio, no CGI, no nothing. I think visually it was absolutely stunning. I think there were so many components to it that were wild, and it was just so fun. It was so fun, and it felt like cinema. It felt like not a movie, not film. It felt like cinema. And what I mean by that is it felt inspiring, it felt creative, it felt unique, and it felt original, while also being very deep and having multiple facets and emotions to it. I think there's just so much to it. The arcing story is a heartfelt one, but there's so much comedy and action and other feelings that you experience while watching this that it's just like you really have to watch it multiple times and focus on it at different angles. And that one, again, is also temporal and cerebral, just like Tenet, but different in that it doesn't involve necessarily time. It involves more different dimensions and universes. But overall, I think it was, again, an outstanding film. And I'm late to these parties, so if you've seen both of these, you're sitting here rolling your eyes going, yeah, I know this already. If you haven't seen either of them, please, Jesus, see them. They are worth the watch. They take a lot of attention, though. It's not something you can just put on in the background and be like, yeah, whatever. You got to pay attention to it. But it is a beautiful, beautiful set of films.
Yeah, you can't watch either one of them when it's very late at night and you're tired.
Yeah, because you need your attention set on them. And that may not be some people's types of films, by all means. But I love those types of films because there's just so much to it. It's like walking into a candy shop and seeing all the candies and colors, and you just want to like look at them all. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah. I just want to make a brief statement. As a follow-up to our previous podcast in regard to a movie's RRR.
Oh my God, yes.
I loved it. It was I don't know if it was dubbed.
It's a dub. So dub is when it's the voice is in English. Sub is when it's the
And
Oh, it was subbed then, right? Because it had words at the bottom.
it might have been subbed and dubbed. I don't remember.
Okay.
But it was such an interesting movie. You had two characters. One was a character that wanted to make his bones in the government, and the other making his bones means, he was an Indian in trying to get into the British government,
Okay.
which during those years India, controlled Great Britain controlled India, and he wanted to go from being a policeman to become an administrator. And another one who was a common villager who wanted to do something good for his people. And the counterpoint between them, and the dancing and the singing, and I don't want to tell you what the ending is, but it was a long movie. It was, again, maybe 2.5 hours, and the costumes and the scenery and the dancing and the singing, fantastic. I really hope I get a chance to see some more genre like that.
They're called Bollywood films.
Yeah. RRR.
Yeah. So two things to that. One, the reason it's called RRR is because originally the title was like Revenge, Revolt, and Resist or something like that. And the I think it was the Indian government was like, hey, no. We cannot have you sell a film that is inciting resistance against our government. And they're like, okay, so we make it RRR. And then the number two thing is, for anyone who watches who's my age and watches a lot of YouTube, you might know Corridor Crew. I love Corridor Crew. They are a set of VFX artists that host various YouTube episodes where they have stuntmen, VFX artists, directors, writers, and they bring them onto their YouTube channel and they react to films. If it's a stuntman, they react to stunts. If they have a CGI guy, a VFX, they bring to react to VFX. And you watch clips of films, and something that they react to, and what they do is they react to it, break it down, and discuss it. And one of the very popular episodes that they've done like 4 or 5 on is Bollywood films. And one of them was RRR. They show a lot of pieces from it. And I find it so funny that we were talking about this the other day and you brought that up. And I was like, oh my God. I haven't seen any of the Bollywood films. But from all the clips that I've seen from Corridor Crew and from what they have said, Bollywood films, plot-wise, are not always like the most complex or the greatest. Sometimes they're very simple, and sometimes it's just like, that's the bad guy, he's the hero, and it's your 25-year-old plot of like, bad guy has to beat hero in the most generic way. But the way that they go about doing it with their forms of CGI and VFX is insane. It's nuts. Some of the stuff that they pull off in these films is things that Marvel wishes it could do. And I don't fully understand it. And it's pure creativity. That's why it's so fun, because it's creative and there's a lot of effort and energy behind it.
Yep.
But it's funny because they will have moments where it's flawless VFX. They've made a guy who was 6 whatever something or 5'8" shrink down to 4'2" for one of the films, and it looks flawless. And then they'll have other stuff like in RRR where some of it where there's just stuff going on in the background and it's intentionally done in a way that is painter-like. It's beautiful, but it looks good. But then on the other foot, the CGI may look great, but sometimes the action doesn't make sense. So in one of the Bollywood films, there's a war going on between a bunch of gladiators and whatnot, and a group of army or soldiers they lock arms or something, and they turn into the shape of a ball, and they put their shields on their back. and they get on this catapult and they get launched into the air, and then in the middle of the air, using their shields on their backs or their arms, fold themselves into this ball of shields. And then when they land on the castle that they're trying to attack, they pop out of this ball in the most dumbass way possible. It's like, and you look at it and you're like, okay, someone really just had no idea how you pop out of this formation. Mm-hmm. And it looks very weird and fake, and it's just funny and it's goofy. And that's what's so, I think, amazing about Bollywood films is there are moments that are stunning and just flawless. And then 5 minutes later in the same film, you see the most goofiest shit in the world. And you're like, what did I just watch? Like, they just took clip art. They cut him out and just made him shrink in. Yeah, it's great.
And for those of you out there who don't know what CGI is.
Computer generated image. Yeah. It's anything that's not shot practically or in reality. Yeah. So it's if I was I'm not gonna do it because I'm not that good at CG VFX. But if I was gonna go like this and then a little head popped up, I don't have a head, so I would generate it with a computer program.
Now this morning, I came back from golf, had a bite to eat, jumped in the shower, and my grandson, who's 10 years old, said, "Gimpa, we're gonna watch Sonic
the Hedgehog."
And I figured, okay, I'm dead tired because I got up at 4 a.m. to tee off at 6:30 at the golf course. But I tell you something, talking about CGI, that was fantastic. It's about a hedgehog, and James Marsden.
That's the guy from Enchanted.
From Enchanted, who I think he's like 48 years old already, but he's a really handsome actor, good, handsome man, clean-cut, good actor. And Hedgehog, it looked like it was real. It looked like...
So I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a little fun fact behind that film. And for anyone my age, you are going to laugh because you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. When that film was when the trailers first came out and the film was getting ready to come out, it looked awful. So you know Sonic. He was from the original the Sega games. You know what he looked like before this film.
Ugly as all hell.
What?
It was ugly as all hell.
The original.
Yeah.
But the trailer. Or you talk about the games.
The games.
So, but he looks similar to the games.
Oh no, I'm talking about the original picture. Yeah.
You saw the original trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, oh boy.
So, for those who may not know then, the original trailer, instead of making Sonic look cartoonish like the games, they somehow tried to ground him by making him basically the face of a real-life hedgehog, but he's blue and he talks. And it was really, really weird because it falls into the uncanny valley, which for people who are film and VFX, that's a term or a phrase used for CGI and VFX that is very real. It is hyper realistic, but something about it organically within humans, it feels off. It feels wrong. Something's weird about it. And if you see the original trailer for the Sonic thing, you'll understand what I mean. It feels real, but you know it's not. And so you're having this weird, almost fight or flight reaction to it. And that's what this uncanny valley is for certain VFX. Same thing, sometimes people claim they feel that same way with the Polar Express. It's a weird, almost real, but not real enough, so it falls into this deep valley. The internet saw this and proceeded to create a movement to bully the living hell out of the producers and the people who made that film. So much so that they retracted the trailer and then released it, whatever it was, like 2 months later, the way it is now, which is the cartoon. He's a brighter blue. He looks like himself.
Cool. He's cool.
It looks and worked. And then when it did that, it did great because people said, "Great, we bullied the hell out of him. We better go see it now."
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of conspiracies behind it. People think that they actually edited the trailer specifically bad so that it would get the attention and the people to talk about it, and then release a better version. So far, no, I don't think any other film has used that method of attack.
Interesting to think about.
But it's an interesting conspiracy to think about, that a film would deliberately sabotage the volume of the film to create a stirring or a conflict amongst the media, to then have everyone talk about it and then go see it. But I do admit, the film, now that it is fixed, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
And that was the first one.
Yeah, there's two. I've seen the second one and not the first one.
Okay. That and James Carrey was at his best.
Oh, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was at his best, totally off the wall, nuts, in the first film. In the second film,
You haven't seen the second one yet, have you?
no. In the second one, I'm going to see tomorrow. I enjoyed the first one with my 10-year-old grandson Alex so much. I want to see the second one. So that's a nice one for all of you. I know we're not doing movie reviews, but we got into it.
We kind of got into it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, but it's a good one for you parents to follow up on, or grandparents. I think you will enjoy it. And again, the CGI was...
The CGI for Sonic 1 and 2, but I haven't seen enough of 1, but the CGI is pretty good. I'm quite surprised. Yeah. So... Sonic, Jesus.
Sonic, I know.
And it's his favorite too. He loves, not yours, my brother's.
Yeah.
He loves those movies. He's seen Sonic 1, I think, 4 times now.
Yeah.
And Sonic 2 he's seen 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and I like the way the characters play off of each other, because you have a good-looking James Marsden, who's the everyday nice guy.
And James Marsden also has had a habit of doing those types of films. He did like 2 or 3 other films that are very much like he did Peter Rabbit. He did there was another one he did. He's done at least 3, maybe 4 films where it's just like him and this CGI anthropomorphic thing talking in a car and trying to like solve the world via magical beings.
Yeah, now he's doing. He's part of a series, Westworld.
Oh, really?
And on TV, and I like him. He's pretty good. I've followed his career since he was a young man. So anyway, what else you got, kid?
That's it. We're at the end of the
done?
podcast. This has been a solid episode.
Okay.
I think we're a little late on the day, and that's fine. That's just because we're on a vacation and we were doing things. So apologies for those who were waiting. We're recording this, and I think I'll probably post this tomorrow. So when you're listening to this, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, we recorded it the day before.
Yeah.
As always, like, comment, share, send it to your friends and family. If there's anyone who disagrees with us, let's start a riot. I want to cause a riot in your home. And
That word riot is not good anymore. You got to be careful.
I know, that's true.
You gotta
Because
be
rioting doesn't
careful.
necessarily mean what it means anymore.
You got to be careful.
But anyways, I hope whenever you're listening to this, day, night, or in between, you have a wonderful rest of your day, morning, and you're enjoying whatever little snack you're having while you're listening to this.
That is true.
Or the car ride that you're listening to this. Until the next one, we will be on schedule next time, I promise. Or we won't, because it doesn't matter. But we'll try. Until the next one.
Yes.
So long.
So long. Peace out.
Peace out.
Be well.